So you've decided to join the Army and you're all hooah and everything, and you're like, I want to be a general, I want to be, you know, a sergeant major, I want to be sergeant major of the Army, or, you know, like, I want to go Delta Force. Well, this video is for you guys. So this is going to be one of my videos where I kind of just pontificate, I guess, a little bit on some of the questions and things that I get from a lot of you sometimes. Because I'll get questions from some of you and you're like, hey, I want to join the Army, you know, how can I be a general? Or how can I get into Delta Force? And things like that, right? So if you don't know what Delta Force is, or it's called Delta Force or the Force or whatever the heck you want, the code name you want it to go by, right? You got Army Rangers, you got Special Forces, and then you have Delta Force, which is kind of like a select group of people similar to kind of SEAL Team 6. So you got Navy SEALs, then you have SEAL Team 6, which is like the more elite team of SEALs. So if you think of kind of Delta Force and kind of like a parallel Army kind of thing like that, there's people who will message me and they'll be like, how do I get into that? How do I do this? And then there's people who message me and like, you know, they want to be some super high ranking individual in the Army. And I love the fact that you guys are so motivated and everything to join, that you want to reach these awesome goals. But I usually kind of tell you guys, like, slow your roll a little bit, you know, kind of dial back the expectations a little bit, because being all three of those things is going to happen to a very, very small percentage of people. So you kind of have to be a little bit realistic, right? So if you want to be what I call like a colonel in the Army and higher, you really have to like dedicate your entire, you know, Army career and just everything to being that rank. If you want to be a sergeant major, you have to dedicate a lot of things to wanting to achieve that rank, because when you get up there, smaller and smaller and smaller percentages of people are going to get promoted. And then whenever you're talking about Delta Force, right, you know, you have to have years of experience before even thinking of getting selected for that, or even thinking of that just being a possibility, or somebody not looking at you like you're crazy if you say that you want to do it. So my advice to you guys, my advice that I give to everybody that has ever sent me a message that kind of goes along with the things that I've talked about, is master what you're doing at that moment in time. Because all three of the things that I've talked about, you gotta really commit, but you can't leap a step, right? So if you're wanting to be an Army general, the way that you can kind of get to that is be the best daggum platoon leader, the best second lieutenant, the best first lieutenant, the best captain that you can be, and then go through that, go to captain's career course, and then, you know, get promoted, go to major, and then be the best major that you can be, and make sure you're doing all the steps along the way. If you're thinking too far ahead and you're not thinking of all the steps that you have to master in between, you're like, oh, you know, I don't really have to be, you know, a great PL right now, because, you know, whatever, that's going to kind of come back and bite you in the butt. You know, if you're wanting to be a sergeant major, there's going to be a lot of things in your record, so make sure you're mastering your job, make sure you're doing good with soldiers, make sure you're kind of building up your ERB, your enlisted record brief. You know, make sure if you're wanting to be Delta Force that either you're going like Army Ranger or you're going Special Forces, and then focus on that. Focus on the basics. Focus on the basic soldier tasks, the warrior task and battle drills. Make sure, you know, you're working on your marksmanship. Make sure you're maxing out your PT tests. All these things. Then obviously, you know, if you want to go to some elite fighting force, kind of like the Delta Force or whatever you want to call it, you know, you're going to have several deployments under your belt. So you're not going to be able to consider that until several years down the road. So my message for you guys is that's great that you guys want to do that. That's great that you guys want, you know, to achieve the best things. But the best way to achieve that is to focus on what you're doing now and master those skills. And then whenever you get to the next step, try to master those skills, because all these three things I talked about, they're pretty elite. They're gonna happen to a very small percentage, like, you know, the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. You know, like if you look at the statistics of the amount of people who make it to the rank of a general, it's low. Now that's pretty much all I have to say. That is what I've told a lot of people who've sent me messages on Instagram and Snapchat. That's what I've told them. And I just felt like I probably should just make a video kind of just speaking to those of you out there that are super hooah, that want to do these awesome, amazing things in the military, and kind of just help you, in my opinion, kind of get your mind right while you're going through this, right? You're gonna be a private in the Army. Don't be thinking way too far ahead that you kind of fail or don't do as well as the things that you're doing right now, so that you can get to those end goals that you want. In the Army, as officers, kind of what you do is you will make these things called like 5-year plans, where you will kind of map out on like a piece of paper, you know, on a document, where you want to be, you know, what unit you want to go to, some of the things that you want to accomplish, some of the goals that you want to do, and you can hand this to like to your higher ups, and they can kind of see your visual goals in a 5-year window. But the thing is you're not going to be doing that for a 20+ year window, which is what you would have to do if you're, you know, wanting to be a general, which is like 30 years. And then if you're wanting to be a sergeant major, which is, you know, 20+ years in and of itself. There may be some people who are less than 20 years, but if you want to be a sergeant major, you're going to be in for a long time. In the Delta Force, you're going to have multiple deployments under your belt. So, you know, it's going to be a while down the road. But that is it for this video. I hope it helped some of you guys out, and if it did, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to check out some more videos, subscribe button, that would be even better. If you're not following me on Instagram, Snapchat, social media, links are right here. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you later.